All right, guys. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, last lesson we talked about communism. Today we're going to talk about socialism. And again, the reason we're going over this is because I hear so many people talk things on TikTok and YouTube and some of that, and those people have no idea what in the world they're talking about. They're trying to show that there's a true bridge between socialism and communism and things like that. Is there similarities? Yeah, a little, but really, no, they're totally different stuff. Okay, and that's what we're going to show you today. So we're going to analyze what socialism really means. We're going to examine how socialism became popular amongst the poor and middle class people, and we're going to create an argument on whether violence is the only way to make a change in government. Okay, now here is your warm up picture. Okay, um, as you can see, the guy is holding a certain metallic item and he's about to put it into an electrical socket. Okay. So the question is asking you, what's this artist trying to say about socialism? So now, if I've had some students in class who were like, oh, I've seen someone do that, or I did that when I was a kid. Um, if that's the case, then you have a really good understanding of what's going to happen and what this artist is trying to say. If you've never seen it, if you've never done it, I would recommend that you don't do it, for one. Also, I would suggest you use your imagination, okay? And answer, what do you think this artist is trying to say about socialism? What's going to happen, okay? So think about it, pause the video, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right. So, socialism. It is a form of economic system where the government owns the basic means of production, which determines the use of resources, distributes the products and wages, and provides social services such as education, healthcare, and welfare. Oh my gosh, that last part, doesn't that sound familiar? Yes. If you hit you realize that yes, we in this country have those last things. Our government provides education for free. Like, did you pay to go to our school? No, you didn't. That's um, social service provided for free. Same thing with healthcare. Some people get healthcare for free, some get at a reduced price. That's where the government comes in. And for like welfare, can you sign up? Sure. They look at certain aspects, how much money you're making, your situation, some of that. But in our country, can you sign up for it? Absolutely. Okay. Now, true socialism has three goals. One is the distribution of wealth and economic opportunity equally amongst its people. Okay. Second one, society control through its government of all major decisions about production. Okay. So the people, while using the government, decide how they're going to do things. Okay. And lastly, which is where I'm saying a lot of these people don't understand what socialism really means, is public ownership of most lands, of most factories, and other means of production. The government doesn't own everything. That's communism. The government only controls or owns a little bit of land, little bit of factories. Okay. But the rest of it is the public, the people. They own it. Okay. And that's what I mean. The those people who say, oh, socialism and communism are the exact same. No, they're not. Already that one part already destroys that bridge. That oh, they're exactly the same. No, they're not. Socialism, people can own property. Socialism, they provide education, healthcare, welfare. You know, um, the people decide through the government what to do. The government doesn't tell the people what to do. They tell the government what they decide they want to do with our resources and some of that. Now, why did it become so popular amongst the poor and middle class people? Well, believe it or not, the idea of socialism is like, I don't think it's even 200 years old yet, really. The idea came during the 19th century in industrialized Europe. Basically, the factory owners made people compete against one another for wages. Told them, hey, look at, I can only pay you $1. Will $1 be fine for you? Okay, sure. And then they'll go to somebody else. Hey, this guy said he'll work for $1. Will you work for 90 cents? Yeah, I'll work for 90 cents. I really need this job. Okay, hey, this guy said he'll work for 90 cents. Could you work for 80? I really want to keep you. Yeah, I'll work for 80. Okay. Hey, this guy, I really want to hire you, but this guy said he'll work for 80 instead of 90. So could you go to 70? And that's what they did. They pitted the workers against each other to lower how much they paid them. Now, I've had some students go, "Oh man, I wouldn't take that job for none." I'd be like, "What? They want me for 50 cents? Oh heck no! I'll go for another job." Guess what? Those other jobs did the exact same thing. The exact same thing. So during this time, the rich were getting richer and the poor were getting poorer. Okay. Now, again, I've had some students say, well, I would start my own business. With what money? With what money? You ain't got no money, Lieutenant Dan. And on top of that, here's the thing, you couldn't borrow money from banks because they want collateral. They want to make sure they're getting their money back if your idea for a business fails. So they need something worthy, something worth a lot of money up front. Chances are you're not going to have none if you were back then living in a time like that. Okay. So a lot of workers were living in poor conditions because they couldn't afford a home. So they had to rent rooms and apartments and some of that. Um, and I don't know if you could tell from that picture how many people are in there. That's 8 people in that picture. Some people are behind in the far back and stuff like that. You can see arms, legs, some of that. Um, those people are all chipping into that apartment room. And again, they're not getting paid much. So, and then those landlords are not, they don't give a care. They're like, give me my rent money. They don't care how these guys are living, how small, cramped those rooms are, that there's only one restroom on the entire floor. They don't care. So things were bad, and the working conditions were even worse. People died on the job, and they just, okay, 2 minutes, say your piece, and then move the body because we got to get production going. So a lot of these workers were really upset that, hey, this capitalism is not working. The rich get rich, the poor get poor. So they kind of favored a change. And they felt the only way you can make government and rich people notice you if you're really, really poor is to kick them in the teeth. Let them know you mean business. So violent revolution, using destruction, using whatever you can to cause chaos. They said, let's do it. Okay. Now, here's the thing, just like there's a splinter in other forms of governments and things like that, and religion, same thing with economic groups. Okay. It's not just straight solely communism, socialism, Democrat. There's other little splinter groups inside that. So for socialism, there's a thing called democratic socialism. It's a way for the democratic political system to improve economic conditions without violence or upheaval. In other words, the people will have their rights and some of that, and you don't need violence to make the transition. Okay, you won't have to threaten to change to up overthrow the government every like 2 weeks. Excuse me. Now, under the democratic socialism, what does it mean? Well, again, people would keep their natural human rights, freedom of speech, freedom to say something against the government if they don't like it, stuff like that. The people would have control over the government through their officials, so the elections. So if there's a mayor or a governor they don't like, who's they feel is being corrupt, they can get rid of him through elections and things like that, recalls. Okay, so it's not like it's, oh, this one government official's, he's now the mayor, he's gonna stay mayor for the rest of his life, he's gonna have his kid run some of that. No, 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 no. Okay, the people still have their rights, and they still control the government. Now, some people may say, especially those on TikTok and some of that, well, that type of government would never last. That kind of stuff. That's like fairy tale stuff. Well, guess what? Sometimes I guess fairy tales come true. Because in Tanzania, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, they've been doing this for a while there. And things look pretty good there. The people have their freedoms. They are socialists. But they're democratic socialists. So okay. So in those countries, the government controls like the steel mills, the shipyards, the railroads, the airlines. But at the same time, they do get health care and medical care. Okay. Um, yes, their taxes are high, but they could still go to any doctor and be seen, whether it's for a tiny cough or for something big like removing cancer, uh, you know, in an accident, some of that. Okay, delivering babies. They would either pay very little or nothing at all. Okay, same thing with the buses and trains and some of that. Hey, your taxpayer money pays for that stuff, so get on board. You know. Now, those who will go against socialism typically have the same arguments over and over again, and some of them are legit. Okay, but some of them are kind of like, that's kind of stretching a little bit. One of the things they say, it takes away from individual initiative. If people know, hey, I'm going to get paid the same as everyone else, why should I try to work harder? You know, why should I try to do more for the company when I'm going to get paid the same as everyone else? So, why bother? Also, high taxes. That that's going to hurt the economic growth because people are not getting as much money back, from their jobs. It's going to the taxes, paying for all that stuff, the healthcare and transportation and some of that. So they really don't have money to have and then spend on whatever they want, whether it's a new car, new clothes, new shoes, whatever, you know. So that one, like I said, that one makes sense because hey, the economy rolls when people spend money, which is true. Okay, and that's why I say rich people who hoard money, who just save it and don't spend it, they're actually the ones who make hurt our economy. They don't make it better; they hurt it. Also, some people argue, these same people, that this increases the government's regulation, which is true. The government's going to have more power to make sure things are running smoothly and stuff like that. Yes, that is the case. Yes. Is government regulations bad, good? It depends on you, how you see it. You know, Government's making sure that the roads are safe to drive, these that like roller coasters are okay, some of that. I'm sure you wouldn't mind that, making sure that that stuff is okay. But the government looking over your back, at your factory and this and that, that may be intrusive to you, maybe not to some people, you know. So again, it's what, in your perspective, what is crossing the line of government looking over your shoulder? Where do you draw that line? Okay. All right. So if you notice, in communism and socialism, there was a common theme of violent revolution that both sides said you can't just talk to people about changing the government. You got to put in some action. And that action is basically getting the attention of the rich and the 1%, letting them know we mean business. And how do we do that? By smashing their front windows, kicking them in the teeth, get their attention that we mean business. Now, with that being said, Do you think that the only way to make change in our country is through violence? What do you think? If you say yes, explain why. If you say no, explain why. And again, the writing prompts on the bottom there to help you. I believe that violent revolution is or isn't the only way to get society to change because why? Explain. All right. So once you finish this, you're done with this lesson. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, if you have any questions, come see me in class. I'll gladly go over it with you, break it down if you need me to break it down even more. If you have any problems, epiphanies, and things like that you need to share with me, or you feel you need to share, by all means, I welcome it. I really do. I want to hear what you think. Okay. So, you guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later.